Chapter 25, My New Enemy. As if dealing with an ornery drain wasn't enough of a challenge, I was also fighting with another new nemesis in my life, the evil tissue expanders. A tissue expander is a type of breast implant that is used to create space in your breast while you undergo radiation treatment. From what I understand, it's not wise to go through radiation with regular saline or silicone-filled implants. One of the possible side effects from radiation is a change in your skin's elasticity, which greatly affects how an implant would look and feel under your skin. For this reason, my doctor recommended the tissue expanders. In my limited medical knowledge, I am aware of two differences between the tissue expanders and a regular breast implant. One of those differences is that on the top of the expander, there is a tiny valve mechanism. That is used when it's time to go through the expansion process, in which the expander is slowly filled with saline. The saline causes the expander to enlarge, which results in your skin and muscles stretching to create and hold a space large enough for your desired size of implants. The other difference is that the expanders are as hard as a rock. From my own experience with tissue expanders, I have come up with another use for them: torture devices. If you ever want to get information from anyone, just sign them up for a couple of tissue expanders and start filling those babies up with saline. That person will give you any information you want, guaranteed. Before my mastectomy, I talked with other breast cancer survivors about what to expect from the surgery and expanders. I quickly came to this conclusion: tissue expanders are terrible, awful, painful, and by far the worst part of the reconstruction process. My tissue expander enemies lived up to every expectation I had for them, and then some. After recovering from my mastectomy for about 2 weeks, I went to Dr. Chen's office to have my second saline expansion. Since the first expansion was completed during my surgery, I did not know what was involved or how it would feel. As I waited for Dr. Chen with one octopus-like drain still clinging to my right side, I felt my anxiety level rising. My senses were suddenly acutely aware of the frigid air in the room, the rigidity of the procedure chair I was sitting on, and the paper-thin nature of the rose-colored gown I was wearing. Oh man, I hope this is going to be a relatively painless process, I silently pleaded. After the ups and downs of the diagnosis, chemotherapy, surgery, and recovery, I didn't know how much more my mind and body could take. Dr. Chen came in, we exchanged pleasantries, and then she got down to business. Even though I was extremely nervous, I found the procedure fascinating. First, she cleaned my chest, making it as sterile as possible. Then she pulled out a teardrop-shaped device with a round opening in the center. In this opening, there was a magnet. Dr. Chen explained that the magnet would tell her where the metal valve on the tissue expander was located, so that she would know where to insert the needle and inject the saline. She swiped the device over the top of my breast in a circular motion. When the magnet stopped moving, she knew she had found the valve. A marker was used to mark the correct spot, and then she turned to her little metal tray of supplies. When she turned back around, she was clasping a syringe in her hands. It was then I started to feel sick. The syringe was not the problem. The problem was the gigantic needle that was protruding from the top of that syringe. Surely you are not planning on sticking that into my boobs. It's a good thing the mastectomy had made me completely numb in that region of my body. I was positive that if I had feeling there, I was not going to like what was about to happen. Dr. Chen continued her explanation of what was going to happen next. Typically, I like to do at least 60 cc's of saline during each expansion appointment. However, if you feel all right after the 60 cc's, we could always do more. 60 cc's doesn't sound like much, right? It also did not look like much as she carefully filled the syringe with saline. When the syringe was ready to go, I quickly turned my head so I wouldn't have to see her plunge the needle into the top of my right breast. I felt like a cartoon character as the saline flowed into my expander and my breasts started to slowly expand. It was kind of a cool yet extremely weird feeling. Once the right breast was filled with 60 cc's, it was time for the left breast. How are you feeling? Dr. Chen asked once the left breast fill was completed. Well, considering that I just had a giant needle stuck in me and watched my breast fill up like a water balloon, I think I feel okay, I was thinking. I feel fine, is what I replied. Would you like to go for another 60 cc's? That might be all we need to do, and then you wouldn't have to come back for another expansion, she said. I pondered the decision for a few moments. Every other survivor I had talked to told me to go slowly with the expansion process. Take your time and you won't regret it, they said. Now here I was, all prepped and ready. The thought of having one less doctor's appointment must have clouded my judgment, and all the sound advice I had received flew right out the window. Since I wasn't experiencing any pain from the first 60 cc's and the process wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be, why not go for an extra 60? I convinced myself that it would be a great thing to do and told Dr. Chen to go for it. I regretted my decision midway through the second fill. That's when the pain started. I also started experiencing a strange sensation, like I was being pushed to the ground and held there by an elephant. I couldn't catch my breath. As the room started to spin, I quickly closed my eyes. "How are you doing?" Dr. Chen asked. "Fine," I squeaked. If you consider fine as being suffocated by an elephant, I guess I thought I was being heroic. What was my problem? Why would I not just tell Dr. Chen how I was feeling? I knew that we couldn't turn back now, not with one side of me 60 cc's bigger than the other side. I was already mostly bald, eyebrowless, and looked like I'd been run over by a truck. I did not need to add being lopsided to that list of stunning features. In went 60 more cc's to the left breast. Same story, different breast. Suffocation by an elephant in full force. "Okay, that about does it," Dr. Chen said. "Do you need any more pain meds? You will be a little sore for a few days." "Huh, what? Are you talking to me? Because I can't hear you. I'm focusing on breathing in and out right now." That's what I was thinking. "Nope," I replied. "I'm good. I still have meds at home." I just wanted to get out of there as fast as my legs would take me. It was possibly one of the dumbest mistakes I had made on my journey. Had I only expressed to Dr. Chen how I was feeling at that moment, she would have been able to remove the extra saline and everything would have been fine. But my desire to feel in control and move the process along won, no matter how dumb it was. I was really wishing that I had taken my mother-in-law's offer for her to drive me to the appointment. She knew how I would be feeling because she had been there, done that. But I had to be the hero, the one who could do it by herself. Had I learned nothing about the value of accepting help when it was offered? Apparently, yes, I had not. Dr. Chen left the room so I could get dressed. Once the door was closed, I thought, how in the world am I going to get my shirt on? I could barely move without searing pain shooting through my numb chest. You know that you're in a bad situation when most of the nerve endings have been severed, but you still feel pain. Somehow I managed to get out of the pink gown and into my shirt. Tears started to form as I tried to gather up my belongings. I felt paralyzed, unable to make any quick movements or slow movements for that matter. Everything that I did produced pain, even blinking back my tears. I slowly made my way out of the room and said goodbye to the people at the front desk, hoping they would not notice my distress. I did not want to draw attention to me because I did not want to stay in that office 1 minute longer. I just wanted to go home, find my pain meds, and not move for 3 days. I finally made it to my van, still angry with myself for not allowing my mother-in-law to drive me. At that point, I could not see how I was going to drive myself home in the condition I was in. It hurt to breathe. It hurt to move, and I could not move my arms very well. I sat in the driver's seat and cried, "What have I done?" "Get back into Dr. Chen's office and tell her what is going on," I screamed to myself. Nope, still have the martyr complex going on. How about I call my husband instead? When Mark answered his phone, I unloaded on him. I feel like I have 2 enormous watermelons strapped to my chest. I can't breathe. I can't move. I don't know how I'm going to drive home. "What can I do?" he asked. "Do you need me to come get you and we can pick up the van later?" "No, I will be fine," I replied. Again, with the martyr stuff. What was my problem? "I will call you when I get home." I prayed the entire drive home, and my prayer was answered because somehow I made it home without injuring myself or others. Once I made it into the house, I planted myself on the couch and did not move for the rest of the afternoon. Quote from my journal. Wow. I thought that surgery was going to be the most painful part of this whole process. Nope, I was wrong. Getting more saline put in my tissue expander was the most painful. The pain that I have experienced this afternoon is the same pain that I went through 3 years ago when I had the implants, only worse. It hurts to move, breathe, laugh, and sneeze. I'm so thankful that I had the implants, though. That is going to make it so this may be my only expansion. We will see what they look like next week. So it's back to the strong pain meds. I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight. I can tell you right now there's no way I will be able to find a comfortable position. Have I mentioned that cancer sucks? End quote. That night is on my list of the longest nights of my life. There was no comfortable position to be found. Somewhere in the middle of the night, the tight, heavy, being suffocated by an elephant feeling left, but it was replaced with pain. Searing, intense, insane pain. It was like nothing that I had ever felt before. I spent the next day mostly on the couch, with as little food and potty breaks as I could get away with. About 3 days after my expansion, I felt like I could rejoin the land of the living. The pain had subsided a bit, and I was able to move around a little easier. I went to a follow-up appointment with Dr. Chen so we could address the issue of my third arm, my last remaining surgical drain. It was supposed to have been removed weeks earlier with my other drains, but instead it was following me around like Mary's obnoxious little lamb. Unfortunately, my right breast was still draining too much fluid and was covered in a big, nasty bruise. It had now been just over 2 weeks since my surgery. I had passed the point where most women are able to be free from their drains, but I had no prospect of losing this one anytime soon. Drat. Now I have to take this stupid thing with me on my upcoming trip. As part of my birthday present, I had plans to head to Phoenix with Mark. His work was having a retreat/business conference there, and I was lucky enough to be able to join him. I thought it would be the perfect opportunity for me to bask in the sun and take a break from the past few months of insanity. I really, really did not want to have my third arm tagging along. Trust me, no one would want me hanging out by him or her at the pool. I'd be the crazy bald lady with a bulb full of gross fluid dangling from her body. Not a pretty picture. Although I was extremely disappointed that the drain could not come out, I decided that I needed to start counting my blessings. I was still experiencing a small amount of pain, but at least it wasn't going to prevent me from going on the trip. Everything was looking up for the moment. That's when my bad luck fairy swooped in, and I was reminded that I was not in charge.